Hey everyone, Selena here, founder, host, lead educator with the American Crochet Association, also the writer and author behind Selena Baca Crochet, of course. So I'm sharing this with all of those communities. If you guys are watching live, come on over, say hey, say hello, tell me where you're viewing from. I've got an old pattern that I've done some work on. She's got a little bit of a facelift. And I just wanted to walk you guys through it. I think it's a really fun, interesting, different way to crochet something that we all know and love. And again, I kind of gave it a little bit of a facelift, so I'm just really excited to share. So I can't wait to see who's here and where you guys are viewing from. And let me know in the comments also how you feel about crochet blankets. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you make them? Do you try to avoid them? Let me know. Let's kind of start off with that. All right. Okay, so the pattern I want to share with you guys today is something that I call Danyel's Motif, Danyel's Afghan block. And I named it after one of my crochet BFFs. We used to work together. I kind of ran out of inspiration for names, and it was just kind of like a little, I love you. Here's a shout out to you, Danyel. So yeah, I named it after her. Now, this is an Afghan block that I wrote. Here, let me show you a picture. Maybe I should have started with that. Here it is. Here she is, Danyel's Afghan square. So this is a pattern that I wrote for Moogly. Everybody knows Moogly, right? Everybody knows Moogly. If you don't know, now you know. You got to go check it out. So Tamra, amazing person in the crochet world, loved and followed their work for as long as I've been in the professional crochet world. And something that they do every year is that they host a Afghan block crochet along. I've linked all the details so you guys can go and check it out. And back in 2017, Tamara reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to design a block for our 2017 Afghan block crochet along?" And I was like, "Yes, please, yes." So there were a few guidelines to follow because it's basically a bunch of different contributors, but we're all making something with specific parameters. Like everyone has to use Lion Brand yarn Vanish Choice. I'm not mad at that. One of my favorite yarns. And it has to be a certain size. And I think it had to be worked like a very specific way. Like it had to be worked from the center out or something like that. I don't remember all the specifications. Again, this was back in 2017. So I loved the challenge. I love being part of something. And so I just kind of played around with some Vanish Choice. I thought about, people are going to be using this block. They're going to be using this pattern to, they're going to be using this in conjunction with a bunch of other patterns that a bunch of other people are writing. I want people to like this and be excited about it. And also it's going to make a blanket whenever you're done. This is going to be a part of that. So I wanted to do something different and out of the box and interesting. And so that's how I came up with this. It's work from the center out. It uses the popcorn stitch, which I'm going to be honest, if you're not familiar with the popcorn stitch, if you've never used it before, or if you've only kind of dabbled, you might hate it a little bit. Typically, whenever we crochet, that work is kind of quick. The fabric that we make is kind of quick, and it's like you're just going from one stitch to the next effortlessly, for the most part, for most things. So a popcorn stitch is a specialty stitch that uses double crochets. And I've got a video tutorial, don't worry. We've got instructions, don't worry. So all of that hand holding is there. But with the popcorn stitch, you're working and then you're stopping and then you're closing and then you're working again. So there's a little bit of like go, 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 go back, go, 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 go back. And so for me, I enjoy the look of this stitch. I enjoy the texture it creates. I love that it's this big kind of bubbly fabric that it creates for a lot of different reasons. Again, this is going to be a blanket. So, I wanted some texture. I wanted some heft, right? But I didn't want the whole thing to like look and feel heavy. I also love that for this, I use different colors to really kind of separate and elongate and highlight that I am using this really big textured stitch here. You don't have to do that. And I'm going to show you guys some other projects so you can see just by changing the color, just by changing the yarn, how completely different this looks. So there you guys have it. This was my design back in 2017 for Mowgli's Afghan crochet along, and it is available. You guys can purchase the PDF on Ravelry if you're just like, I just need a one and done. It's definitely there for you. If you just click on the link in the video description, you will actually find the article that I wrote on this with pattern instructions that you guys can view for free on the American Crochet Association website. And then from there, you guys can find the link to Ravelry. All right, it looks like quite a few you guys are here. So before I move on with more details on this, I'm just going to give a shout out to Angela. Always so good to see you. Amanda Woodbury, hope you had a fabulous weekend away, and I hope you share some pictures. It sounded fabulous. Dawn is here. Hello, my friend. Angela says, love Tamara. Yeah, love, love, love Tamara. Love the work, love the person. Love everything, right? So it was so nice to be included in her Afghan block crochet along. And this is not the only one I contributed. So on another day, on another time, I'll share more on that. Robin is here from South Carolina. Robin says, and I love blankets, but I'm going to have to come back and watch the replay of this gorgeous motif because of connection issues. That's a bummer, but the replay is always just as good. Angela says, beautiful square. And Adriana says, hi, Selena from Cyprus. Wow, all the way from Cyprus. Thanks for checking in. Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. Now that we've seen the Afghan square, we know what stitches go into it. We know why I made it. Why an Afghan square? Okay, so let me go back to that original question. Do you guys love crocheting blankets? Are you like, don't like crocheting blankets? You know, a lot of us have feelings about that. Sometimes, you know, we only crochet or we only learn to crochet, so many of us, just to make blankets, just to make motifs, specifically probably granny squares or blankets for babies or people, you know, or the back of the couch and things like that. So I have a love-hate with blankets. Sometimes I love making them. I love the idea of them. But for me, the stopping point or the hesitation with crocheting blankets for me is I love if we're working like a long chain, you know, 492. I don't mind that. I don't mind the first few rows. I don't mind the first like foot or two. And then it just kind of becomes a thing. If you're crocheting a blanket in one piece, when you're halfway through and beyond, it's this giant thing. It's, for me, I'm speaking for myself. Let me know if I'm speaking for you too, or if you kind of feel these feels. When you're crocheting a large blanket, even if it's just a throw size, even if it's a lap size, I mean, it can just feel heavy. It can, you know, every time you turn a new row, it's just such a chore. I think mentally it feels hard for me. It's like, oh, I got to get back to this thing. I'm only halfway done. It's not very portable. So I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff to it. So the reason, or insert an Afghan square, okay? So whenever you crochet something like this, it can be whatever you want it to make. I mean, this could be something as simplistic as you're just crocheting, you know, a new cover for a pillow. This could just be like a 12 by 12, and you make two of them, and you stitch them together in some way, you seam them together in some way, and now you got a brand new pillow cover. Cool. You know, it can be something like that. Or you can use a yarn like cotton, and you make something like this, and now you got a kitchen trivet. So it can be this kitchen accessory. Same thing, you could even, you know, you use cotton, and it could be a washcloth, you know, something really kind of cute and fun and pretty that you put in your bathroom or you give away as gifts or something like that. So it can be a kind of one-off, one-and-done project like that, or the more you add to it, the more it can kind of transform what it is. I mean, this could also be a scarf if you know, seam together a long line of them and you use maybe, I don't know, like a weight 3 yarn or something like that. You could use thread, and this could be a coaster. So, I mean, you know, your imagination for this is, or sorry, what you can do with this is only limited by your own imagination. But let's bring it back to, this is an Afghan square. This is why I created it. So depending on how big your square is, depending on what yarn you use, you know, you can make a variety of squares, seam those together, and that's your blanket. I mean, let's say each one of these, let's just say this square right here is 12 by 12. Okay, let's say when you crochet one, it's 12 by 12. You can make 4 of these and have a 24 by 24 you know, baby blanket kind of square. And then the way I designed this particular square is that it's very easy to continue working into it. So if you wanted to add to this square in rounds, you can very easily do that. You can see what the pattern has told you to do after the last few rounds, and you can just continue that. Or if you join a few of these together and you want it to be larger in some way, you can continue around the rounds of all of these joined together and do that. You can make lots of different size blankets. It doesn't just have to be a square blanket. You can do 3 squares by 4 squares, and that way it's more of a rectangle shape. And you can just kind of go on and on to make it as large or as small or as square or as rectangular as you'd like. So that's how you can take a square like this and join them together to make a different project or a different crochet blanket. And I have lots of resources for you guys to check out. So if you want some blanket size guides, if you want to substitute yarn, anything like that, I've got some more resources and I'll walk you through that at the end. Okay. So let me pause for just a second and see who else is here. You guys have a lot to say in the comments. I love it. Angela says, beautiful square. Okay, I'm starting to say hey to the same people again, but that's okay. Angela, you get more than one shout out. Margaret is here. So good to see you. Margaret says, don't you think that it looks like a yummy cake that is beautifully decorated? You know, I did not think about that until you said it, but it kind of does, you know? Yep, I see it now. Now I want a cupcake. That's what it reminds me of. Amanda says, ugh, blankets. Yeah, I know. And I think it's the size of it. I think it's the size, like, you know, it's fun to start a blanket in rows. And then for me, and I think a lot of us feel the same way, it starts to feel exhausting. It's big, it's heavy, it's not as portable. You have to work on it in one spot typically. Like it's this thing you got to lug around. So I feel you. I feel those feels. Hello, V. Good to see you. Paula is here from New York. Dawn says, I love to make blankets. Well, Dawn, I wonder if you love a particular kind or a particular style or a particular method of blanket. Let us know. All right. And if you'd love to try this blanket, I'd love to hear that. Paula says, I love this square, pretty colors. V says, I have abandoned several blanket whips too big. I totally get it. Sometimes I want to make a blanket and I start to make it. And then it's fun and new and different, interesting. And then when it becomes like a chore or a task, I love it less. Amanda says, ooh, a pillow. Yep, absolutely. So again, your imagination is the limit. You can kind of keep going with it. Okay, guys, so that's what I wanted to tell you about this square. And now I would love your feedback and opinion about something new that I've done for the formatting. Now, again, Selena Baca Crochet here. I'm putting that hat on. I've been writing patterns professionally since 2009. And I've published my patterns in quite a few different ways for people to use them. So something that I've always done is have a Ravelry shop where people can purchase my patterns there. That's been my business model. That's just kind of, you know, because I wanted to focus on providing great content and sharing that great content. And that was the business model that I used. So since starting the American Crochet Association, I've been sharing some of my patterns to view for free at the AmericanCrochetAssociation.blog. And this is one of those patterns. And the reason I'm doing that is I think that the patterns that I'm sharing are excellent teaching tools. They teach us something different. They, you know, help us to build our skills in a fun and meaningful way. And so whenever I post a pattern for free at the American Crochet Association, it's more than just a pattern. I'm giving you more than instructions. So I'm finding new ways to post these patterns so that what you're finding is going to be easy, or what you're looking for is going to be easier to find. So I would absolutely love it if you guys would click on over, take a peek at this new format and give me any feedback. Okay, I would love to hear any feedback, good, bad, happy, or sad. This is the first kind of rollout of a format that I would like to use for other patterns on this site, but so far not all of our patterns have this much information. So is it too much? Is it not enough? Or is it labeled in a way that's fun and different, interesting? Let me know, okay? Okay, so first and foremost, okay, here it is. Here's the title, Danyel's Motif. It's an Afghan block crochet pattern. That way, if you're just searching the internet or if you're searching this blog, you can easily find it based on what it is. It's an Afghan block, but it's also called Danyel's Motif. It's a crochet pattern. So I'm kind of giving you all those pieces to help you find this. Then I'm telling you guys just a little bit about it. Here's a few paragraphs, or here's a few sentences, I should say, that just tell you what this is, why it's cool, why it's different, just in a few quick punchy ways, right? What am I doing here? What am I looking at? Why is this interesting? So something new that I've done is I put in a table of contents, okay? Now, a lot of different websites have free patterns, but sometimes it's hard to know, like, where is the pattern? Like, I know what this is. I heard Selena's chat, but if you want more information or more links or more details, you may want to kind of scroll through to get those resources. But maybe you've made this 10 times before and you just want to get straight to the instructions. This is how you can do that. Now, I got this idea from looking at recipes on the internet. I love some of the features that free recipes have. I love the format that they have. And I'm like, you know, I don't really care where you got your cooking utensils, so I just want to skip through all of that. Or, you know what, I watched your video and I love your cooking utensils. Where are those exactly? So that's kind of where I got the inspiration for this format. So the table of contents goes like this, all right? It answers questions about this pattern. Like, what is a crochet Afghan block? I kind of go in a little bit more detail about what it is and how you can use it. And that way, maybe you're like, well, I don't want to make an Afghan, but Selena talked about a pillow, so I just kind of want some more information on that. What is a popcorn stitch and crochet? If you want more details, information, a video tutorial, I've got you. What yarn should I use? This is where I talk about what yarn I used and how you can substitute. And that way, if size is important, how to do that. If size isn't important, what yarns you should choose, things you should consider. Can I substitute yarn? I talk about different resources that you can use so that you can substitute yarn for this project to make something that you love. Can I change the size of my Afghan block? I give you resources. I give you additional information. I even have a cheat sheet for the most common blanket sizes. And that way it's something you can use as a guide whenever you crochet blankets. Key takeaways when making this crochet Afghan block, and I just kind of reiterate some key points. It's kind of like and in conclusion, here's some things you should know. Helpful resources when crocheting this Afghan block. I give you project inspiration. I'm going to show you that in a minute, okay? How to change colors and rounds. That way, if you're looking for additional resources, including a tutorial, I've got that for you. How to join motifs together. If you're like, well, I'd love to crochet different motifs and join them together, but how do I join them together? I've got 9 different types of joins that you can either crochet as you're working, crochet when you're done, or sew together when you're done. And I've got a video tutorial for each one of them. What size blanket should I make? That's all the resources and that cheat sheet. And that way you can make a blanket size that makes sense for you. And then if you love this idea, this crochet Afghan block idea, and you want to see more crochet Afghan blocks, I've got more on the website. And I've linked each one of them. There's some policy for individual use. There's just some information about how you can use these instructions, how you can't use these instructions. And then I go over everything that you need to make this motif. What yarn I used, what tools I use, gauge, size, stitch guide, specialty stitches and techniques. Everything that has a video tutorial or a resource, like if you want to get the exact yarn that I use, I link you out. And that way you just have to click that link and you know you've got a shopping resource to get the yarn. If you go through the stitch guide and you want a video tutorial on how to work any of the stitches that are in this pattern or any of the specialty techniques, I've got a video tutorial for you. And then here at the very end is the step-by-step instructions for the Danyel's Afghan motif. So there it is. That way, at a glance, you can see everything that this article has, including just the step-by-step instructions if you want. So I'm going to show you guys just a few more things on this page that I think are pretty cool. But before I get to that, I want to see what else you guys are saying. All right, everybody's talking about cake now because of Margaret. Everybody wants cake now. I should have brought cake. Virtual cake for everyone. Another cloudy day says, hi everyone, I like crocheting blankets in squares for sure. I have a hard time doing a row after row. I hear you. So if you've got row after row fatigue and you're looking for something new and different and interesting, then the crochet Afghan square might be a good alternative for you. Dawn says lots of info is so great. Amanda says I love the format. Oh, that's so good. Nice. All right. So what I would love, again, after this live video, if you guys could click on over and, you know, dart around if you want to, kind of click around any one of these that you click on. It will take you directly to that section. But I would love it if you guys could at least kind of scroll through and look through. Is it easy to read? Is information easy to find? Do you like the information that's provided? I mean, here I share things like, what is a popcorn stitch? If you want to see it in action, you can just click on over to another resource if you need additional details. Again, I talked about what yarn I used. Here I talked about the Moogly Crochet Along. Here's the yarn I used with the link to buy it. I like to use Amazon resources just because, well, because everybody uses Amazon, right? But also I am an Amazon affiliate, so I do earn a small commission at no extra charge to you if you do use my links. How to substitute yarn, I've got tons of resources so you guys can find it. If you want to use another yarn, I already went through and saw what other people were using, and I've linked some resources for that. How do you change your size? I give you information on that. And if you want more details or a cheat sheet, I've linked away. Key takeaways, helpful resources. This is probably one of my favorite sections, is the helpful resources, because what I've done here is I'm showing you how many different variations you can create just by changing the yarn type and the yarn colors. So I've taken a picture and I've shared it here, but I've also linked out to all of the Ravelry projects. Guys, there are over 100 Ravelry projects for this Afghan block so far. And you can see here, people have purposefully changed colors. They've used color changing yarn. They've used yarn with a short color repeat, color blocks. I mean, so many different varieties. I mean, every single one of these looks completely different. You can change color or not change color. So you can totally see how this particular block is completely transformed by the yarn type and the yarn color that you use. And again, if you need any resources, like how do I change colors in rounds? This pattern's worked in rounds, so I give you information on that. How do I join the motifs together? I've got 9 different video tutorials for you to use on any kind of joining technique that you might want to use for this project, depending on what you like best or what it is that you're going to do with this. So there's not just a one and done kind of thing. So lots of variety. What size blanket to make? Again, I've given you guys resources on that. If you guys like the idea of Afghan blocks and you want to see others, I've got others that you guys can see how you can and cannot use this pattern. If you want to get this on Ravelry, I've got a link. And then here's everything that you need to make the pattern. So again, here's the yarn. You can click on that link. Here are all the colors that I used, all the tools that I use, gauge, stitches. If you need to see any of these stitches, they are linked to a video tutorial that you guys can check out. Specialty stitches. If you don't know how to work the adjustable loop, the popcorn, all you got to do is click on over. And then again, here's the instructions. All right, so again, I know that that's a ton of information, but I don't want to just throw crochet patterns out there into the wild. Yes, there is a crochet pattern here, but I really want to educate and inform people and give people resources that will help them to work not only just these patterns, but things, tools, and resources that will help you build your skills and take them into any crochet project that you make. So click on over and take a peek, and I would love to hear what you think, so drop some comments, all right? I love the comments. All right, final shout outs to everyone here. So questions, comments, feedback, anything, let me know. Dawn says lots of info is so great. Amanda says, I love that format. Amanda says, would this be a good pattern for a men's blanket? Oh, I love that question. That's great. So I think that style is in the eye of the beholder. I think that whomever you want to crochet something for, see what their style is. I never make assumptions. Just as an example, I remember there was a crochet hat that I would make, and because I'm female and I wore it, my narrow mind was, this was a hat for females. And I remember a guy ordered, a set of hats, and I thought, oh, these must be for his spouse or his children, you know, for females. And I remember he put the hat on and it looked great on him. And I was like, oh, it's for you. And he was so surprised by me saying that. He was like, is it not? I can't wear it. I was like, you know what? It looks, and it did. It looked great on him. So, you know, short story long, it's all about who you're making it for. So if you want to make this for a person, man, woman, child, whomever, pet, see if they like it. See if this is a style they like. And if it's a style they like, then it's a perfect gift for them. So always check with whomever it's going to be for if you are worried about whether or not they're going to enjoy it. Dawn says, I always like the substitutions just in case I can't find the ones used in the pattern. Yeah, and I love to give additional information like, this is exactly what yarn I use. So if you want to make this exact thing, if you want to make this literal exact thing in these colors and you want it to be this size, you want to make that, this is exactly how you do that. However, if you want to get creative, if you want to use a different yarn, this is what that means. The yarn you use may make a smaller project, it may make a bigger project. What does that mean? So hopefully I'm giving you just enough information that you can take those details and you can make choices that create a project that you love, okay? All right, I don't see any other questions, comments, feedback, so that is it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Again, I'm so excited about this new format. I'm so excited to share this pattern with you guys. Even though it's an oldie, I still think it's a goodie. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this pattern. And definitely let me know what you guys think about this new format. If you guys have any suggestions at all, I can't wait to hear them because I'm going to be reformatting all of the patterns that I'm sharing with the American Crochet Association. So I'm using this as a template to do that. So speak now or forever hold your peace. If you guys enjoyed this chat, do me a favor. Tag a crochet friend in the comments or share this video in at least one place that you enjoy crochet if you think they'll dig it too. All right? Peace, love, crochet, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.